Hello, I'm Tag,
And this is Bob.
and you're listening to Bob and Tag Talk. Before we start the show, I'd like to point out that the topics discussed on Bob and Tag Talk are for informational purposes only. So please don't take this as investment advice. We urge you to do your own research before making any investment. So today we are going to go down a sort of a mental model route. We're going to be talking about how you can make decisions better and what tools you can employ to make decisions better. So you've heard about the Eisenhower matrix.
Yes.
How would you categorize them along the 4 quadrants?
So generally when it comes to decision making, the Eisenhower matrix talks about primarily 2 concepts. You have to decide if a decision that you're going to make is urgent. Is it urgent? Is it important? And depending on how you categorize it, you choose how do you want to deal with that decision.
Right.
Do you want to deal with it by, you want to delegate it? Do you want to, take some more time, or do you want to just automate that particular task? What are the different ways we can tackle making decisions? But the most important concept is why. The important why is because decision making is kind of very challenging to the brain. I mean, it tires your brain out.
Yeah.
So some of the examples that I have read about and heard about is like every day we make a lot of decisions.
Yes.
When we get up, we choose what dress to wear.
Yeah.
We choose some kind of what shoes to wear and things like that. What to eat. So this kind of little things. These things are not important. For some people it is important, for some people it's not. Maybe it depends on your profession or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
So these kind of things tax your brain. And so there is a way of living where you can really minimize taking decisions and you can only take the important decisions. So that's a way of living that you can live.
Okay.
So there are a lot of successful people who claim to do that.
Right.
So for example, some people like Mark Zuckerberg choose only to wear one set of clothes whole throughout the week. Same color.
That's true.
Same color. So they want to avoid this decision fatigue.
Okay.
This decision fatigue is something that everyone is aware of. We go to a restaurant, we see a menu,
Right.
then we keep reading the menu. There are so many choices, like 40 choices.
Yeah.
We take some time to,
process all
2-3
of it.
choices. What if you had someone to take the decision for you? Or sometimes what happens is after going through all the choices, you're just tired and then just choose something or just copy something.
Just the usual thing. Just give me the usual.
Just give me the usual. Give me the special or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't want to make decisions. We get tired of making decisions. So if we get tired of making decisions, so we make continuously 5 decisions. If you're being tired of making the first 2 decisions, the next 3 decisions will be poor.
Right.
So what we are trying to avoid is trying to avoid fatigue, or trying to make sure that we make the important decisions quickly, efficiently, effectively, and so on.
Okay.
So what are the different ways in our daily life or in our work life or in a business, how businesses do it?
So you mentioned the Eisenhower model, the Eisenhower quadrant.
Yes.
So important, urgent, not important, not urgent.
Yeah, so basically it's the X and Y axis. On one of the axes you can have all important and another axis urgent. So when a particular decision which is important and urgent, so what can we do about it? Basically it means that it has deadlines or it has high consequences. It can be financial, it can be personal, it can be any kind of things. So we have to spend more time on these kind of decisions.
Right.
So we can take time, or sometimes it's too urgent, we cannot take time, but we have to make sure we are in a good environment as well, and we are in a right mindset to make this decision. Because most of the time, sometimes when we make the decision, after you make the decision, since it has a deadline, sometimes you cannot change the decision.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful about it.
I think high consequence and deadline.
Something
based.
like any kind of a payment. You are planning to buy something, making a buying decision. So it's a lot of money. Once you pay, you cannot get it back. These kind of things are, because within 1 week you have to decide that do you want to make this payment or not, buy this product, service or not. So these kind of decisions generally we try to do a lot of research, do things
Right.
as much as possible, and then
Got it.
we try to make the right decision.
Got it. So that is important and urgent. So what could be something that is important but not urgent?
Well, any important decision, not urgent, which does not have a deadline, obviously, which unclear deadline. Yeah, that's the thing. But the thing is, why it is important is because in the long term it matters.
Okay.
Probably some things like what do you want to do for the next 5 years?
Oh, okay.
Do you want to change your career in the next 5 years and things like that? You have the time to switch careers, or you want to take the time to really understand, take in all the parameters and do it. It is important, but it's not urgent because there is no deadline as such. Your deadline, as long as you don't put a deadline on yourself, you're particularly fine with it. You can spend as much time as you want thinking about it, mulling over it, and so on.
Interesting. So then, not important but urgent.
And these are the things like mostly, at least to my mind, I think most of the bill payments that we do.
Okay.
Like we have deadlines, urgent because they are deadlines. We have within 5th we have to pay the electricity bills, telephone bills, those kind of bills, and these kind of things. And then in work wise also probably that could be like within 1 week you have to send a report, to send an email, or let's say you have to submit your form 16, pay your taxes, and things like that. They're all urgent generally.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, taxes you can't say it's not important.
But
probably filing your return is not important. Filing and paying your tax is important.
Okay, makes sense. The distinction is important to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so these sort of tasks can, like you said before, these sort of tasks can be delegated.
Yes, so either have someone else take that particular decision or do the work, do the task, basically. So ideally you should not do the task yourself. So simple things like filing a particular form or something like that, you can ask someone to do it. Generally form 16, we have
readily prepared forms.
We do. Some people want to do it online.
Right.
They go through Excel sheet. But if we pay 300 rupees to a tax preparer, he will do it for you. So sometimes you have to make an assessment where by spending that money, if it saves you time, if it saves you the mental energy to do something that you like, probably you should just do it. You should not, unless for me, like I love filling forms, understanding tax rules and things like that. So I would rather do it myself. It's a little bit of fun for me.
Okay.
If it's really taxing for you, if it really spends your mental energy, if you're spending too much energy on it, you're not enjoying it, you should not do those things. You should delegate it, or you should just pay someone else to do it.
Or it's also the case where you've done it so many times and you don't really
tired
want to
of
do
it. At some point, it fatigue. Some kind of fatigue sets in. You have to immediately pay someone else.
Yeah.
You have done something on automation for posting, right?
Yes. So for Bob and Tag Talk especially, because I don't really have the time to post every day on that particular time slot and everything, what I've done is I have used a content planner where I schedule all the posts, I create all the data for it, I do the imagery for it, and I schedule it to the Instagram handle so that it gets posted automatically. So I don't have to go every Monday morning, Tuesday morning at exactly 10 o'clock and post something. So and automation.
So you can focus on more important tasks, and these kind of tasks we can automate it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of other things like that, like bill payments also sometimes can be automated.
Yeah.
So as much as things which we can automate it, we can automate it.
Yeah, and the auto pay feature is actually really nice, where it gets automatically debited and you don't have to worry about it.
But the only challenge is, at least which we generally struggle with, is reversing a payment. That is where most of our problem lies in. Because sometimes what happens is some of the online payments that we do, if we put a instruction on a credit card or something, even when we stop using the service, sometimes to cancel it's very, very difficult. But I think with UPI there is a lot of I think it may be a little bit easier and simpler, because there's a separate section called mandate payments, UPI mandates, which you can just go there and stop immediately. With credit cards, it's very, very difficult. You have to generally get in touch with customer care to stop the standing instruction or something like that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
So credit cards is a little too too energy consuming. I think UPI is much better. I think the Netflix payments that I do is through UPI mandates. One of the best things ever. I don't. No one has to remind me that because I don't watch Netflix for 3 or 4 days. No one has to remind me that Netflix subscription has to be repaid or something. So it automatically renews on a particular date, and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the things that are not important, but they are urgent enough to do.
Yeah.
Then the tasks that are not important and not urgent either.
Yeah. Posting something on social media.
Right. So basically, why this model is useful, why we need to make better decisions and everything is basically because you need a little bit of peace of mind.
Yeah.
You're
less stress, mental stress.
Yeah, less mental stress, and you're trying to delegate that as much stress away from you as possible, whatever you can, with the not important urgent stuff and the not important not urgent stuff, so that you can focus more on the important and urgent stuff.
So basically it's getting into an environment where you're simplifying your life. So you're basically the whole focus area will suddenly change in your way of thinking. Is that what do I really want to focus on? That's what we are actually trying to do. This is what startups do. And this is what sometimes big companies do. Everyone has a different way of decision making style. So in a personal life also we can imbibe those things. We can improve upon how we actually evaluate ourselves. Are we doing the right things or not? So basically we are trying to improve our processes. And we are trying to do things more efficiently.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one more thing I wanted to talk about was one-way versus two-way decisions. What do they mean?
Yeah, generally when we talk about one-way decisions, it is like we are making a decision that is set in stone. We cannot change anything later.
Right.
So it can be important, can be unimportant, but like choosing what telecom provider you want to use internet for. It's generally not a one-way decision.
Okay.
But for something like what automobile you want to buy, that is a more one-way decision. There is no going back.
For
5 years,
longish
medium term. It depends on your term, but those kind of things. And sometimes the cost involved is very prohibitive. So sometimes that also is a reason for making it a one-way decision.
Okay. So one-way decisions are also irreversible. Sort of
irreversible. Two-way decisions are sometimes you can take a decision now, but maybe if you don't like it, you can change your decision at a later point of time.
Yeah. Like possibly, I don't know what could be an example for a two-way decision. I suppose buying a product, buying a product on Amazon, you can always ask them to replace or get your money back.
That's why some people prefer Amazon. If you go to a shop, you buy something, sometimes they won't take it back. Why people shop on Amazon? Even if you make a mistake, this is not working, you can always have the option of returning it.
Yeah, that's
so some people are. That's why things like companies like Amazon are getting a little bit more popular.
Right.
Because it's become more preferable. Because first thing is you have that customer service kind of a focus, and customers are also a little bit more willing to take a chance.
Right.
Okay, let's try it out and see. If it doesn't work out, at least I have the option of giving it back. Kind of a thing. So it builds trust between Amazon and the customer.
And it's a nice segue into what we wanted to actually discuss. So you shared with me the Amazon shareholders letters. So this is basically letters that Jeff Bezos shares with his employees, with shareholders, and anyone who
business
basically
partners,
wants to read it. So it's like a set of letters dedicated to them, describing what is happening in the company right now, what is the situation, and possibly what can they do to make things better. So I came across something that I found very interesting. It's called high velocity decision making. So basically what he wrote in those letters is why big companies take a longer time to make decisions. One, it could be because of the hierarchy, because you need to get approvals from so many different layers of people that by the time it goes to the topmost person and then comes back down the chain again, you've lost that momentum. So in that sort of a scenario, startups are very interesting because they don't have a high chain of command. So decision making is much more easier for them. He also explained point that sometimes you wait for 90% of the information to make a decision. But other times it is not actually necessary to wait for all of the information to make an informed decision about it.
Correct.
So what is the best way to make a decision, and how can a business or a company benefit from a high velocity decision making process when compared to a high accuracy decision model?
I think I think you also mentioned, I think it was also mentioned in the shareholder letters that like which show to produce. They wanted to choose, make a choice whether do they want to develop this kind of a show for Amazon Prime.
Right.
And then they want to make this decision. So Jeff Bezos was in a room with a lot of producers and then media creators. And then they were trying to make this decision.
Yeah, and they were trying to convince him about the decision.
Yeah, so basically the group who are going to produce that particular series or a movie, they were already agreed to kind of decision. They wanted Bezos, they want to convince Bezos or get his approval. And what did Bezos do in that situation?
Yeah, so Bezos understood that they were all ready to do it. They were just waiting for him.
Yes.
So he basically said something called disagree and commit. So basically what he thought was, I don't really agree with your idea. I don't for these reasons I don't think it may work out, but I do see that you guys think that this will work out, and that you really do feel that this was going to work out. So I'm going to disagree with you, but I'm going to give you my approval. And
not just approval, it's like he said commit.
Yeah, commit to it. Yeah.
That means he also takes responsibility for the outcome.
Yeah.
Even though he disagrees.
Yeah, that's a very good distinction. Yeah, it's not like he's just, okay, I disagree with you, you do whatever you want. It's not that sort of a situation.
And it's not like if it fails, it is not your problem alone. It's our kind of it's our decision.
Yeah, he's disagreeing and committing to it. So I think to me that was like very, very interesting, because in companies, say this had happened in any other smaller company, not smaller company, any other company where there is a lot of hierarchies and all. So imagine, how much effort those people would have taken just to convince that superior that this is a good idea, that is worth pursuing, but you have to make a quick decision. So how should companies make better decisions, and what is the balance between making high velocity decision and high accuracy decisions?
High accuracy decision, I think we already discussed about it. Like most of the financial things need a little bit more accurate data. So financial companies, when they provide reports, when they provide marketing materials, they are actually legally obligated to give very highly accurate data. Otherwise, they can be sued. They can be, reputational loss, and it can be any kind of backlash against you. So they can't generally do things. But some of the startups generally, so they don't really go for accuracy when they're starting kind of a new product. They may not know exactly what kind of a product they're building. So generally, what they do they make like, okay, these are the 5 important features that we want to target, and then let's see how many users are enthusiastic about it. And then they do trials, and then and if it doesn't work out, they immediately course correct. Okay, let's try something else. One example, I think there are a lot of new financial tech apps. So initially they tried to actually selling mutual funds on their platform. And eventually they realized more than mutual funds, probably they can make a more profit selling stocks and things. So they immediately changed. So they changed to buying and selling stocks on their platform. So it's also a natural course of evolution of the products that they're giving. But sometimes they also identify, okay, this is more profitable than this. Like how Zomato decides, okay, we don't want to do this kind of a grocery delivery business, or we want to do this 10-minute quick delivery business. We want to get into it, but that can be more profitable. So profitability sometimes leads you, so they can experiment more. Startups can experiment more, but sometimes established companies, they are a little hesitant to do experimentation.
So I think it's also healthy for other established companies also to sort of experiment a little bit more. But it depends on how much leeway you want to give to the experimentation and how much to accuracy. And like you said, like startups are very good at making decisions with like maybe 50 to 60% of the information.
Yeah.
And then if it goes wrong, immediate course correction.
Yeah, they have to, because for survival kind of a thing, they need to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think most large companies also are trying to do it that way now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just about finding that balance and making good decisions, whether it is for your own self or for your business or for your corporation or for whatever it is. And I think that's a good spot to end it there today. Hey, thanks for listening to Bob and Tag Talk. Please consider following us on our Instagram and Facebook pages. We put out weekly summaries of the topics discussed on the podcast. And if you found this episode informative, please like, share, and subscribe.